Yeah.
Welcome to Around Town with today's guest from the Maid herself, a Boss Conference, Shy Crawley and Brittany Onley. From the Latin American Center, Laura Adarve and Maria Matos. From the Law Enforcement and Community Engagement Forum, Mr. Frank Barton. And candidate for state representative, Mr. Lynwood Jackson. I'm Richard Blackwell, and now here are your hosts, Elizabeth Perkins and Tanya Bayne.
Good evening and welcome to Around Town with me, Elizabeth Perkins, and
Tanya Bayne. We're glad to be here today.
yes, we have a great show for you this evening, and we're going to get right into the show with our first guest. Sitting here is Mr. Frank Barton.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks you for coming to the
Thank
show.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Frank, it's a lot to say about a man that wears many hats. Okay, can you tell us about yourself as we go into the interview?
Yes, I am a retired FBI agent,
Okay.
22 and a half years of dedicated service.
Yes.
I'm a father of 4 awesome children, been married for a long time.
Yes.
I am a pastor, I am a teacher, I am an educator, and I am a motivator.
Wow, and I'm just inspired just listening.
Yes.
Just listening to that. Big question: how do you go from in law enforcement to being a pastor?
Only God.
Oh my God.
Neither of which I ever wanted to be.
Okay.
When I was coming up, I was an athlete.
Okay.
I played high school and college athletics, a Hall of Famer at Delaware State in football and baseball. So my goal was to be in the pros.
Okay.
But God had a different plan.
Right.
So when I came out, I started working at a bank and then Glen Mills schools in Philadelphia. And then one of my supervisors was an ex-Secret Service agent.
Oh wow.
And he said, "Frank, did you ever think about the Secret Service?" And I said, "Hold on." I said, "I'm from the hood." I said, "What I know about the Secret Service is the president's there, they start shooting, and you jump out in front." I said,
Right.
"I don't think I want to do that."
Right.
So he said, "No, you should really consider it. You're very articulate. You pay close attention to detail." And one day the FBI came in, I took a test, wasn't really serious about it. Everybody was stressing because they wanted to do it since they were 2 and 3 years old.
Wow.
I just went down for an hour, took it, passed phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and I've been doing it ever since.
Was that something that was a calling for you to say, you know what, I know this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to go down there and be an FBI agent?
It kind of ties in what we're going to have next week at the forum.
Perfect.
Is that I was a good kid in North Wilmington, never got in any trouble, but I always found myself on the other end of the barrel.
Okay.
Because
Wow.
of implicit bias.
Okay.
I didn't do anything wrong, never got a record, never got arrested, but would always get stopped by officers, shotguns to the head, foot on my head,
Right.
and say, "Oh, 15 minutes later, oh, you look like somebody, a subject
Yeah.
who did whatever." So my thing is, my motivation was, I'm sick and tired of us always talking and complaining. How about we get on the inside and do something? So I was blessed to get hired by the highest law enforcement agency
Right.
in the land. I ended up being the civil rights coordinator for 8 years. Ended up being one of the national recruiters in magazines as well. But when I retired, I was the media representative for the Philadelphia division. So I was the voice of the FBI.
Wow.
So
That's amazing. So given that and your background and the environment that we live in today, how are you using those skills today, and particularly in our community?
yes. So I take what I'm very passionate about. I'm very passionate about my community and communities like Wilmington. 5 boroughs in New York, I've gone there, Boston, Miami, Tucson. I just came back from Compton. So as I'm very compassionate about my community, I'm also passionate about my law enforcement community, because there's a saying, and one of the city officers said last week, and it's all over, you're either too black for the uniform or too blue for the badge.
Wow.
Well,
So you're on either edge. So,
Right.
and I've stood at both ends of the barrel and also on the outside of the barrel. So I'm motivated to bring all of us together,
Right.
to have a seat at the table, to be able to talk, because we're really all saying the same thing, but we're on a different page.
Well, let me ask you this, because you are one of our men in blue, and with the racism and things like that is going on, how does that make you feel as an African American man in a blue uniform? And you have a lot of people out here that doesn't like our boys in blue.
Right. It saddens me because still today, 5 years retired after 22 and a half years, I still get profiled. It saddens me because I have 2 young Afro-American young men, sons, who are very big, 6'2", 285,
Right.
and 6'1", 195, with the dreads and the different color hair. So what I try to do is I try to get our community to understand that there are other mechanisms that you can use, that every police officer is not crooked. Give you a quick example. In Philadelphia, when I was working civil rights, Philadelphia Police Department had 6,630 officers.
Right.
As a civil rights coordinator, I was investigating about 66 of those. So that's 1%. 1%. But we get all painted with that same stroke.
Wow.
So what I try to inform our community is, if you have a bad encounter, just like I did many times when I was a young person, there are mechanisms that you can use. You don't have to go to IAD if you don't feel comfortable with the police policing the police. The FBI has a civil rights unit in which I was in charge of for a long time.
Because let me share this with you. I did an interview with Sheriff Pratcher.
Yes.
And I was asking him this same question. And I said, even when you're compliant, you know, you get that same
treatment.
aggressive,
Yeah.
ness from the police officer. And he says it's a no-win situation, whether you're compliant or not. Do you agree?
No. See, because that's part of the education. And like I said, with my 2 boys, and that's why I'm bringing this forum to the community. Your voice, not my gun,
Right.
not my taser, not my handcuffs.
Right.
My voice is my number 1 weapon. Because as an FBI agent, and when you go through training, you're taught to be assertive. Knock on the door, FBI, shut up, listen to me, don't say this.
Right.
But I also was a hostage negotiator for 14 years. So as a hostage negotiator, I can't do what I did
Right.
as an agent. I have to listen. Because if I don't listen, and if I go before you,
Right.
and I get in a confrontation, and your stress level is here, and I raise my stress level, well, that means somebody else gets killed.
Right.
But what I do is say, Elizabeth, you sound very angry. You say, I'm not angry.
Right.
Guess what? My voice, I can come back.
Yeah.
I didn't say you were angry.
Right.
I said you sounded like you were angry.
Right.
Well, I am because XYZ. Now I brought their stress level down.
Right.
Now I can get to the problem.
Right.
So it's the same way. When you get stopped, your voice is your number 1 level.
Yeah.
I've taught my kids, my community, our church, the proper protocol when you get stopped.
That's important.
Don't elevate the
Right.
stress level.
All right.
Get home.
Get home.
Just get home.
So,
So-
I was going to say, tell us
Yes.
specifically,
How you get home safe?
how do you get home safe? Because
Yeah.
that's critical. I have a son, and I am very concerned that he doesn't know what to do. So can you help us with that?
Yeah, and we've had at our last forum, we talked about this specifically. So I'll give you an example for me. So as a retired special agent, FBI, I'm a CCW carrier, concealed carry weapon. So if I get stopped by a car, the proper protocol, by a police officer, proper protocol, both hands on the wheel. If it's nighttime, all my windows come down. When a police officer comes up to the window, I'm a retired special agent with the FBI. I am a CCW carrier. I have my CCW on my right hip. What do you want me to do? So there's no reaching.
Right.
There's no making you feel uncomfortable. If
Right.
you want to extract me from the car, you can take it out. If you want to take the weapon off, that's fine.
Right.
But my thing is, because I'm calm, I'm not going to let you elevate the situation
Right.
where I put my life in danger, because my wife wants me to come home.
I know
At least I
that.
think she does.
Right. Now, you wrote a book,
Yes, ma'am.
and this is his book I want to share with you. It's From FBI to Apostle. Can we get a zoom on that? How did you go from being FBI to an apostle? How did you do that?
Well, many law enforcement officers seek to write books when they retire. I was blessed and fortunate, and I really did not want to write a book. I'm an English major, and I do write. But
Right.
During the course of my career, I had Oklahoma City bombing case out in Denver, Colorado. I was out on a mountain, Pikes Peak, 14,100 feet high.
Right.
It just had, I've always known God, loved God, gone to church, but God really spoke to me. And basically, he said, I'm sick and tired of dealing with nonsense, foolishness, and games. I want my men back.
Right.
So I came back, started the men's fellowship, wasn't thinking about being a pastor. Long story short, did that for 7 years, and then I received the call. Been doing being an FBI agent for 12 years, and an FBI agent and a pastor for 12 years.
Wow.
So God just blessed me. When I came out, I wrote that book to tell people it had nothing to do. A lot of the cases that were solved in the FBI
Right.
had nothing to do with FBI techniques, things learned at Quantico, but it was by discernment in the Spirit of God.
Yes, yes, yes,
Beautiful.
yes.
Awesome.
So you mentioned that you're having a forum.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right, tell us about that.
Please.
Well, the forum is to get the community and law enforcement executives and officers and chiefs all together on the same page. Because this is one thing that I know, being on both sides of the barrel,
Right.
is that we all want to be respected.
Right.
We all want to be heard. But if I can get everybody to come and sit at the table,
Right.
then we can get that accomplished. So I'm going to have Mayor Mike Przicki there. I'm going to have Police Chief Vaughn Bond, Newcastle County Police.
Yes.
Police Tracy from Wilmington. Some executives from Delaware State Police,
Yes.
as well as National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, Noble.
That sounds like it's going to be a nice event.
Yes.
Yeah. What time does it start?
Starts at 7 p.m. on Wednesday the 22nd at our church, Perfect Will Ministries,
Okay.
11 Parkway Circle, Newcastle.
Okay. Is there any tickets to get to this?
No, just come.
Just
The
come.
whole, none of that format, just come.
Right.
Because I want people to be heard.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So do you have a number if somebody wanted to say, I wanted to call and get some information about the forum that you're having and things like that? Do they have a number?
Yes, they can call area code 302
Okay.
325 2225 or check our website, perfectwillministries.org.
Okay. Beautiful. Wow.
So what gave you the idea to have that kind of forum?
I'm tired of after a death, we all get together and we do this.
Yeah.
We train for everything else.
Right.
How about not getting to a forum where we can talk before things escalate? And it's not even
right.
just tragedy. It was the
Right.
young lady up in Massachusetts last week who was an RA, and somebody called the cops on her, and she was embarrassed. And I mean, it mentally tore her down.
Right.
I don't want to see that anymore. I want to
don't
bring
either,
these
yeah.
executives together, law enforcement and community, but it's also dual, because what it also is networking.
Right.
Because now I can go back into my community and say, well, I get on hold, now I got to hold on police call for about an hour or
Right.
whatever, but now I have Police Chief Tracy's card.
Right.
Now I have Police Chief Vaughn's card. So I can call these
Absolutely.
guys,
Right.
and now I can get things done.
I know that's right. Accountability and
Yes, ma'am.
responsibility, and the community
Yes.
has accountability and responsible for the people in their community. We got to stop talking and start doing.
Start doing and
Start doing.
participate
Yes.
in the solution. We are the change
Yes.
There it is.
that we are waiting for. It is up to us to
It
do
really is.
something, to participate, you know, to ask questions. You know, you have just enlightened us so much. Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you.
And another thing, before we go out of here, let me ask you, if someone wanted to get your book, how would they get it?
You can go on to Amazon.com. There are a lot of different
Perfect.
places that they have it online. You'd be able to get it online.
Okay, you can get it online, and it is From FBI Agent to Apostle, Saga of Spiritual, what is it? Sniper. Frank
Oh,
Burton Jr. You got to get
perfect.
the book. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back with Tanya in Health and Wellness. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
very much.
Thank you.
Wow, great information. Oh my God.
Good evening and welcome back to the health and wellness segment of Around Town. I am excited to be here this evening, both professionally as a broadcaster and personally. We're going to be speaking to our two guests today from the Latin American Community Center. And the Latin American Community Center has been the cornerstone for our Hispanic community for almost 50 years. So I'm really excited today to introduce our special guests, Miss Laura Adarve and Maria Matos. I am extremely honored to have you ladies here with me this evening. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yes, yes, yes. So
we're always eager to talk about the Latin Center.
all right, that's what I know. And you in particular, Senora Matos, have been holding up the community. You've been a backbone for this community, and I just need to honor you for that. Over the years, we've seen a lot of changes in our community, and very often for a variety of reasons, things fizzle out. But you have stood in the gap for us for a very, very long time. And before I get started, I needed to let you know that we appreciate you, the hard work that you've done, how you set the foundation, okay, for making a long-term change in this community, not just for the organization, but for people. What you do impacts the lives of people and also their children and their children's children. And you do not get enough credit for that.
Thank you.
So from my heart, de mi corazón, okay, I give you a lot of honor. So that being said, let's talk about the Latin American Community Center. We're going to cover quite a few topics, all right, and couple of things that I want to tell us a little bit about your history, how your staff works, and the initiatives that you want to let our community know about.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for that. It's really important to recognize people, and we don't do that often enough. And I also take blame for that. We're always ready to criticize, but to give accolades is very difficult, and I do appreciate that.
Thank you. You deserve it.
It's been 25 years that I've been there.
Wow.
But I've been in the community for over 50 years. It is about the community, but it's mostly about our children.
Yes.
That's what motivates me. That's what keeps me going. That's what gives me strength. Is that our children need us, and they need us now more than ever.
Absolutely.
With what's going on at a national level, where our children are being put in cages, we have to continue to fight.
Yes.
We have to continue to fight, because there's no way that we're going to go back.
No way.
But we can talk about that forever, and we don't have a whole lot of time. So let me get back to the Latin Center. It was incorporated in 1969. Our mission is to empower the Latino community through education, advocacy, and exceptional services. That's our mission.
Absolutely
That's
wonderful.
our mission.
Yes.
We want to talk a little bit about the immigration. We want to talk a little bit about September is Hispanic Heritage Month, and as a Latino center, although there are so many things that are heartbreaking out in the community, we have to celebrate. We have to celebrate the good things.
Yes.
And we do celebrate our culture. And on September 7th, I'm going to let Laura talk, because,
Yes.
young people, you have to, there's a saying, out with the old and in with the new.
Ah.
So out with the old and in with the new. So I'm going to let Laura talk a little bit about the open house and the grand ball, and then we'll talk about the early development center, where we take care of our children, the educational programs for our kids.
Perfect. Go ahead, Laura, take us.
So the open house is an event that we hold every year. It's always held in the first week of September. This year it's going to be September 7th at 11:30 a.m. or at 12 p.m. for the luncheon. And basically, it's an event where we celebrate our culture and what we share in common as Latinos, but also as humans. And the best part, as most people would argue, is the food. Because, all staff members cook a dish of their choice from their country, ideally, and they bring it in and we all share. It's like a potluck where we invite community members to come in and we talk a little bit about the center, what's going on at the center, what we're doing, where our focus is, and then we all eat together. So I invite everybody to come out. It's open to the community. Again, it's September 7th at 12 p.m. at the Latin American Community Center at 403 North Van Buren Street in Wilmington. And that's, again, an annual thing, as well as our Grand Ball, which is our annual gala that we hold. And this year it's going to be on October 13th, and that's at the Chase Center on the riverfront. And that's a really fun opportunity to not only help the community out by attending, but to have fun, get dressed up, and bring a friend or find a date to buy your ticket for you. And feel free to join us. And it's a great event. It's for a really good cause. And ultimately, we're just trying to raise funds for the organization to continue to do the work that is so very needed in our community.
Absolutely wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So keep those dates in mind, September the 7th and October the 13th, okay? And you can go to
Our website.
the Latin American Community Center website to buy your tickets and get additional information.
Absolutely.
So
That's the Latin, that's www.thelatincenter.org.
www.thelaatincenter.org. Let's get that. All right. I have it saved. I have it bookmarked because I love it so. Couple of other important issues that critical issues, beyond important, that we want to just address. We don't have a lot of time, but they're so important. We're talking about immigration and also, your program for the youth. So why don't you just tell us what's important for you?
One of the things that we do at the Latin Center to make sure that we're offering the services that the community needs, we do surveys. We survey people that we serve, we survey the community, so that we know, are we doing the right thing or do we need to change? So one of the things 10 years ago when we do it every 5 years. So 10 years ago, people needed a place to come and look for jobs. 5 years ago, people wanted more English as a second language classes in the afternoon, not in the morning, not in the evening, but in the afternoon. And we were able to incorporate those in. The other thing that came up the last time we had a survey was immigration services.
Yes.
People needed a place to go to, learn what their rights are. Because sometimes we come to this country, and it's a new country, new laws, new ways of doing things. So what we do in our immigration program, not only do we help them fill out the forms necessary for them to become citizens, and we provide the civic classes, because there's 100 questions that you have to know to answer in order to pass the immigration test. So we provide civic classes along with the English as a second language classes, but we also provide people to fill out their continuation applications for DACA, to bring their families here, whatever they need as far as immigration services and documents that they need to fill, we do that for them. But we also provide community forums where people learn their rights. What right do you have? Do you have to open the door? Do you have to show your papers? Do you have to tell people that you're in this country undocumented? So education, whether you start very young or at an advanced age, education is what takes people through their daily lives, and educating people in what their rights are in this country. Even if you don't have documents, you have a right. You have a right, and those rights are the ones that we educate our community so they know what to do and what not to do. So they're like the gentleman said before us, their foot won't be on their neck, because we go through the same thing.
Absolutely.
This country is a country of immigrants, but it doesn't appear so right now. So we just need to keep marching on and have faith that we will overcome.
Yes, and the education about what people's rights are and what's critical is important. So you can go to the Latin American Community Center and get some help, whether you're documented or undocumented. There is help available. Hay ayuda para ti en el Centro de Latinoamericanos. So go and make sure and get the information. Tell me a little bit about the your childhood education program.
Well, we're a 5-star.
All right.
We're a 5-star. We do dual language, Spanish, and project-based learning. And project-based learning is an educational tools that provides children, whether they're older children or young children, the opportunity to investigate a subject deeply. So they learn about a specific topic, but they immerse themselves in that topic. So they know everything. They know that a cow, if they take the project-based learning, the project of milk, they learn that a cow has 3 stomachs and what the purpose of those stomachs are. So you start at 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds teaching them that project-based learning is an opportunity for you to master the skills that you need to go off to college, but you're starting at 4-year-olds.
Absolutely. We do need to start teaching,
We need to start
teaching
young.
them young.
Very
Amazing. Excellent program. Because what I hear you saying is that you have something for everyone. Okay? You just need to reach out for the services that are available to you. Laura, before we wrap up, because we have about 2 minutes, we had briefly talked about another critical matter in terms of voting. Okay, why don't you just share with us a little bit about our conversation and what it is that you want to remind the people about with regard to their right to vote and the requirement, the accountability that we have to vote.
Absolutely. So we know that we're at the midterm election year, and it's a big year. So we have the primary coming up on September 6th, and it's a Thursday, so take note. And then we have the general election on November 6th, which is a Tuesday. And at the LACC, we do have 12 employees who are trained voter registrars. So we can register people to vote at the LACC in their language and make sure to eliminate as many barriers as possible. But it's important to remember that just because somebody's registered to vote does not mean they're going to be there on voting day. So we need to go further and talk with people about actually making a plan to vote. Do you have a ride? How are you going to get there? What time are you going to go? Is it on your calendar? Because we need to make sure people actually go out and vote, not just be registered. But the starting point is to get registered. So if you know anybody that needs to be registered, send them to the LACC. We will get them registered. And it's especially important, those who have the ability and the privilege to vote, it's your obligation to vote for those who don't have a voice and don't have the privilege to vote. So we really, really urge the community to come out strong this year.
Yes, and it's the entire community that we're looking at. You know, the LACC is a place for the entire community. Right. It just happens to have an additional service and focus on the Latin American community, but anyone can go for help, for resources, for direction, and I cannot highlight enough about your responsibility and your accountability to vote. You know, I often say that, you know, there's something for all of us to do. We can make a difference, but first we have to take action. We need to take the steps in order to make the difference. Being registered is wonderful, but unless you exercise the privilege of voting, then you're, you know, if you don't do that, then you really are not stepping up to your accountability. So, thank you very much, Maria Matos and Laura Adarve, so very much for coming, and I'm going to be calling you back again soon.
Great.
Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be right back with Elizabeth Perkins and myself and our next guest. Hey, welcome back, welcome back. Very excited, glad you stayed with us. So, I'm so excited to introduce these two young ladies.
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have with us Shy and Bree from, I'm going to let them introduce the title right and tell us about what you do.
Yeah.
All right, you want to go first? Sure, I am Shy. I'm co-creator with Bree, Made Herself a Boss. And Made Herself a Boss is all about the starting process.
Yes.
We want to help her, whoever her is, to get started with her business, her dreams, take control of that and start. I think we often find out, even between the both of us, that fear or lack of money or lack of knowing what to do can sometimes hinder us from starting. So we wanted to be that medicine. We wanted to be that to help her start. And that's how we created this conference that helps you start with tangible tools.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Love that energy.
And I am Bree. Started this wonderful thing with Shy. It's funny, this started just with a conversation. We were frustrated that there are other conferences out there and events and things for business startups. And I was saying, you know, they get you so excited and they get you so pumped.
Right.
But when you go home, do you really have like the tools, the actual tools to get started like tonight or
Right.
tomorrow? So out of that frustration, you know, we created Made Herself a Boss. We just had our first conference earlier this year in February. It was amazing, and we got so much feedback that, you know, what we gave them really, really helped.
Right.
So I'm just so excited to be a part of this.
Yes.
So you give the tools to get the gears going in their business.
Yes.
Because I know when people say, "Oh, we have a conference and we're going to help you with business," a lot of people be like, "Oh my goodness." So what are you bringing to the table? Can you share a little bit of that?
Absolutely. Well, the number one thing that we wanted to do is get some speakers who actually knew what they were talking about, who are
Right.
not just good at, like I said, getting you hype, but they have the experience behind them. They own their own businesses. They've been through it. They've had the failures, and you know, they're here to tell you about it. So we make sure that we choose excellent speakers
Okay.
who will give their own teachings, a nice little segment. We make sure that the attendees have worksheets.
Yeah.
We make sure that they have all the materials to actually soak in this. Like, we give them everything but a recorder.
Okay. Right. Right.
To take home what they just learned. And our hope is really for them to just go home that night or the next day and get started. And, you know, we will follow you on social media too. We'll see if you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you give them the information to do this, is these certain courses that they have to take, or like, or you are like the on-call peoples to say, let me call her up and say, I'm having a problem with X, Y, and Z, or is there actual courses that you recommend with what you do?
So with the conference, with the 5 women speakers that usually come, they come in, they teach their specific area.
Okay.
For example, social media might be one, productivity, empowerment, marketing. They teach their course, they teach there for 45 minutes.
Okay.
They give them the worksheets, different things. And then maybe 2 or 3 months down the line, we have a follow-up where we can follow up with them to see, hey, how are you doing? You know, did you actually take these steps that the lady taught you? Are you doing this? Because we can give you all the information,
Right.
but it's up to you to actually
Do the work.
Exactly.
the work
Right.
So
for
we
it.
want to hold you accountable.
So
Yeah.
basically that's it. It's
Right.
our accountability piece where we follow up with them to make sure that they're actually implementing the steps that were taught to them.
Oh, okay.
Proven steps that actually work.
Okay.
So that's how we put, you know, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
The follow up.
Oh, okay.
That is critical because I'm going to share with you that, you know, if I had had someone teaching me the skills or
Yeah.
providing me access to the skills, you know, I would have come along sooner, okay, with the resources that I needed to do that. So that's why I'm so impressed with you. You know, we have 2 young ladies here that have really taken on ownership to really put things together for their peers. Okay, and those of us who are joining, because I love hanging out with them as well. So what made you go ahead and do that, you know, individually?
For me, I can say I just wanted to help. Someone helped me, so you're supposed to pass that on. My mom always says, each one teach one. So whatever I learn, I'm supposed to teach my next person so
Right.
that they become successful as much as I can. I mean, and I take joy in seeing people, the aha moment going off, the light bulb going off,
Right.
like, oh shoot, I can do it. Oh, it's that easy. Oh,
Yeah.
you know. So I enjoy that, and I enjoy just helping and meeting new people flourish to their dreams. That's for me.
Exactly.
And it's a similar thing for me, except I really didn't have anyone like take me to the side and say, no, this is how you do it. It's all
Right.
been a self-learning process for me. And so I want to make it easier for the next person who may have felt like I did. Oh, there's no one else helping me. I personally didn't at the time have a circle of
Right.
people who wanted to be entrepreneurs. So there's only so much advice that my peers could really give me.
Right.
You know, the ones that are close to me, the ones that are willing to share that information
Right.
for free, because I was not.
Right.
So, and I get an extreme excitement
Right.
from seeing people receive this information and actually go use, like, oh, we taught you that.
Yes.
Tell
So
me,
it's just
so,
amazing.
so where is the event being held?
The event is being held. We are finalizing the venue for the next conference. We know
Okay.
that it's definitely going to be January the 19th.
Correct.
Okay.
January the 19th. It's going to be bigger than ever. We're bringing so much more. The speakers this year are actually more advanced, I
Okay.
will say, than
Right.
the last ones. They have a little bit more under their belt. They're a little bit more well known. So we're just excited about it, and we have a slew of events
Right.
leading up to it. So
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
So if they wanted to contact you and say, because you're still in the, I guess you're like in the
Planning
how do I say that?
stages?
The final staging.
yeah, final
of-
stages of it.
So to know for sure like where the venue is going to be,
Mhm.
is there a number where they can call you to say, okay, well,
Or social media
Yeah.
contact?
Oh, we're all over social media.
Yes,
Well,
you are.
We do have a website, madeherselfaboss.com. Everything is there. We are constantly updating on our social media on Instagram, Made Herself a Boss. No surprise with that. And we recently started a Twitter page. Shai doesn't really like Twitter too much, so
No,
it's
I
mostly
don't
me
do
doing that. So I'm trying to keep that updated, but you know they can go to either one of those things, especially our website, and get
Okay.
up-to-date information. We have a mailing list there, so if you just want it straight to your inbox, if you're not thinking about going to look, we can bring the information to you.
So your event, you have an event in September. That's
Yes.
kind of the preparation
Right.
for the conference.
Right,
Tell
right,
us a little
right.
bit about that.
So that is actually, it's Girl Boss Week. So Girl Boss Week, I know, get excited. It's for all types of women, no matter what stage you are, no matter if you're an entrepreneur or not, because all women do things that are boss, in my
Right.
opinion. Whether you're raising your kids or you're going to school or in
there
between.
you go.
Girl Boss Week is to celebrate that woman, that girl doing all those great things. So from the week of September 15th through the 22nd, we have different events going on. And to start it off is the Boss Run
Yes.
under Fab Ambitious.
Okay.
And then next we have the Build, Brand, and
Brand
Brunch. The brunch where we'll actually be speaking and talking about branding, one-on-one branding and how to use branding tips and things to make your brand stand out, how to be taken seriously professionally, especially when you don't really know. So
Right.
that's what we have coming up. So Girl Boss Week starts September 15th through the 22nd, and then our brunch is September 16th on a Sunday from 1 to 4. And we're really, really, really excited about that.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. I'm just so excited because you know I'm going to be there
Yes, yes.
the whole week, and then I can officially be a girl boss.
Already a girl boss. Already a girl boss.
Exciting, exciting. This is a great place for everyone to come and learn. You know, I have learned so much from these young ladies from a social media standpoint. I wasn't on Instagram or IG, as it's called. And they really, you know, I see what you put up on Instagram, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to post something on Instagram so that I can, you know, get out to that whole other network, you know, that is out there. So tell us again how it is that we can get in touch with you. Give us your webpage again.
No problem.
And your Instagram
Instagram.
handle. I don't know, that's probably
Yeah.
wrong.
Oh, no,
Yes,
you
you got
got
it.
it.
All
Go ahead.
right.
That's-
You
okay.
got
that.
So you can reach us at madeherselfaboss.com. And then our IG is the same name, Made Herself a Boss.
Okay.
You can slide in our DMs because I'm always in there. Or you can email us, or you can just get on our social, our website. We're always
Yes.
on there. We're always open to communicating. We're always open for collaboration. You can hit us up anytime.
All right. And are you looking for like-minded individuals to help?
All the time.
Yes. Be a part of Team Boss Made.
Yes, Team Boss Way. We need volunteers. There are still a couple spots for Girl Boss Week Philadelphia. So if you know anyone in that area, please have them contact us. And we're excited to work with you. We're excited to work.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for coming out, Shy and Bree.
Thank you for having us.
I might come out and be a boss.
Yes.
Girl, you know we're there.
Yeah, we got it. And we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Communities in Newcastle County, Delaware, whose residents are mostly poor and predominantly people of color, at a much greater risk for cancer and respiratory illnesses than the affluent white towns. The single most impactful thing we can do is take the lead on environmental justice initiatives in order to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and help combat global change. The Supreme Court ruled that the EPA is obligated to offer a replacement plan for regulating emissions in carbon dioxide. So I asked, why would the Environmental Protection Agency be against that and not to protect the environment, protect the people? Thank you.
Please join us as we deal with these issues. The educational achievement gap, police brutality, discrimination against LBGT community, mass incarceration, and worker discrimination, just to name a few.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back, and we have in the midst is Lynwood Jackson, and he's running for state representative.
Yes, I am.
Welcome to the show, Lynwood.
Well, thanks for having me again, Miss Perkins.
You're doing a whole lot.
Well, you know, we are. And right now we are running for the 16th District Delaware State Representative. You know, we do a lot of work in the community up and down the state of Delaware, and in the 16th District as your state president for the NAACP. And basically, James Johnson was retiring, and this year, after so many years of doing some great work And so a lot of people thought it would be a natural progression for me to just step up and fill that spot, being as though we were already down in Lake Hall working on a lot of the issues for all of these years.
Okay. And when you say you're running for a state representative, what's all combined in that?
Well, you know, the state representatives, there's one side of the House, with the other side is the senators down in Legislative Hall, and together they work on bills and changing policies and stuff for the state of Delaware.
Right.
And one of them, for example, is for the House of Representatives, they write bills like for clean water.
Right.
And you know, we're trying to raise the age for our kids to drop out of school to 18 instead of 16. That's one bill that was introduced years ago when you and I, in 2012, Deborah Hoffernan, State Representative Deborah Hoffernan, introduced that bill, but it didn't pass. And you know, we went door to door collecting signatures from people to keep our kids in school. Another one would be the suspensions. You know, they're suspending our kids disproportionately, and so there was a bill written and passed and to stop that.
Right. I seen you on Charles Brittingham show, and you were saying something about how we have so many people that's incarcerated, and you were doing something with that. Can you share that?
Well, yes. We all know our criminal justice system is a little bit messed up, and we're trying to reform the criminal justice system. There's a lot of organizations out there today trying to reform the criminal justice system and to end the mass incarceration of black and brown non-violent citizens. Excuse me. So we are working on a lot in that area.
Right.
You know, police brutality and excessive force. We want to end the no bail program that's going on out there, where a lot of people they get arrested and they can't post bail.
Right.
And so they end up losing their jobs and families and homes and what have you, just because they couldn't afford like $100 a bail money. And so we want to eliminate that. There's a whole lot of things going on with the criminal justice system that needs to be fixed, like the law that allows police officers to shoot to kill unarmed citizens because they think that they're a threat to them, just because they thought they were a threat. They don't have to be like a physical threat.
Right.
And so we want to change that, similar to the laws that they have in New York State. A lot of police departments in New York State already adjusted their laws to where you need more than just a thought to shoot an unarmed citizen, for example. So those are just some of the things with criminal justice reform that we want to work on, that we need to work on. And also we're asking along that line that, you know, we have some good police officers and we have some bad police officers. Well, we would like more of our good police officers to speak up. And say something when they see the bad police officers out there using excessive force or against unarmed citizens who really didn't do anything. Or we need them to speak up to clean house, if you will.
Because like when you say when they have this, you know, shoot to kill, the community is stressed. Not only is our police officers stressed, the community is stressed.
That's right. It brings ill will to the citizens. They don't want to work with police because they can't trust them. And so we want to bring in. We want them to have more training and to how to de-escalate a situation. We would like for the police academies to have training in diversity and how to deal with people who have mental handicaps, for example. We all know what happened to Bam Bam, the guy in the wheelchair many years ago. But if there's people who want to work with my campaign, they can get on my website at Jackson, DEStaterep.com, and help us out. For anybody out there who want to look for more information with my campaign.
Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Lynwood. I got to have you on the show again. You're a pleasure to have.
Well, you know, it's a pleasure working with you after all these years.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Let's get it on, baby.
You've been watching Around Town with your host, Elizabeth Perkins, and Tanya Bayne. Be sure to watch our next episode on Tuesday, September 11th. I'm Richard Blackwell, and thank you for watching.